In the voluminous history of the American Revolutionary War, most people only remember the decisive victory at the Siege of Yorktown, overlooking a pivotal battle that completely reversed the tide of the Southern campaign. Military academics share a unanimous view: without the Battle of Cowpens in 19,781, there would have been no subsequent British surrender at Yorktown, and the dream of American independence would most likely have ended in vain. Fought on a frigid pasture in South Carolina, this brief yet extraordinary clash created an astonishing tactical miracle in modern warfare. To this day, it remains a core compulsory tactical case study at West Point and the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst. The architect of this incredible triumph was no well-educated, aristocratic professional general. Instead, it was Daniel Morgan, a battle-scarred grassroots commander who rose from the bottom of society with no formal military training whatsoever. Opposing Britain's elite regular troops was not a seasoned professional army, but a makeshift militia force of ordinary farmers who took up arms temporarily and were long dismissed and underestimated by British forces. This seemingly vulnerable ragtag army achieved a crushing victory over Britain's elite troops within an hour through counterintuitive and sophisticated tactics, overturning the traditional land warfare logic of the 17th century. By late 1780, the American Revolutionary War was on the brink of total collapse, with the Southern theater falling into complete disarray. That May, British forces captured Charleston, the vital stronghold of the South, taking more than 50 Continental Army prisoners and inflicting the worst defeat on American troops throughout the Revolution. Following this victory, renowned British general Charles Cornwallis seized control of most territories in the southern colonies. Loyalist militias rampaged across the region, persecuting colonists who supported independence and pushing the entire Southern resistance into a desperate passive state. The Southern Continental Army at that time was fragmented and demoralized. With its supply lines completely severed, George Washington urgently appointed Nathan L. Greene to take command of the battered Southern troops to stabilize the crumbling war situation. What Greene witnessed upon arrival was utterly harrowing. Over 1,400 underfed, ragged, and poorly equipped soldiers were scattered across remote wilderness areas, incapable of mounting effective combat operations. While every other general insisted on holding their ground and clinging to survival, Greene made a strategically brilliant yet risky decision. He split his already under-strength army, dispatching more than 600 soldiers under Brigadier General Daniel Morgan to conduct mobile guerrilla operations behind enemy lines in the western frontier and pin down British main forces. This bold move laid the crucial groundwork for the ultimate battlefield comeback and marked the defining highlight of Morgan's military career. Among all Revolutionary War generals, Morgan's background was utterly unique, breaking every norm of 17th century European and American military elite paths. Born into a poor farming family in Virginia, he had no prestigious family connections, influential patrons, or formal military education. All his battlefield insight and combat experience were forged through grassroots struggles and real-world warfare. During the earlier French and Indian War, he was sentenced to wubach and ashes for confronting a superior officer, leaving permanent scars all over his body. Nevertheless, he remained optimistic, resilient, and principled. When the Revolutionary War broke out, Morgan voluntarily organized the Virginia Rifle Company and participated in all major northern campaigns. During the Siege of Quebec, he sustained a severe neck gunshot wound, yet refused to retreat, holding his position until the end of the fight in the pivotal Battle of Saratoga. His elite marksmen dealt heavy blows to the British main force, becoming a core driving force behind the American victory. Years of brutal combat allowed him to thoroughly master Britain's tactical systems and inherent weaknesses. More importantly, he cultivated an ability no academic general could match, understanding the battlefield psychology and behavioral patterns of ordinary citizen soldiers. This was Morgan's decisive advantage over his contemporaries. Most aristocratic American officers of the time looked down on militias, arbitrarily dismissing civilian soldiers as cowardly and incompetent. Morgan, however, fully understood their dual nature, familiar with woodland terrain. Militia fighters boasted precise marksmanship and high mobility, capable of effectively halting British advances. Yet, in open flatlands, they would easily panic and scatter when facing British bayonet charges. A failure fully demonstrated in the disastrous Battle of Camden. He clearly recognized that militia retreats stem not from cowardice, but from a mismatch between troop capability and tactical arrangement. Forcing amateur civilian soldiers to fight rigid formal battles against professional troops was equivalent to amateur athletes competing against professional players. Defying all objective battlefield rules, this practical, human-centered awareness freed him from traditional tactical constraints, enabling him to design a perfect strategy tailored to his army's weaknesses. In early 1781, 26-year-old Banastra Tarleton, Britain's most outstanding young elite commander, led a combined force of regular infantry, dragoons, and loyalist militias to hunt down Morgan's troops relentlessly. Fierce and aggressive on the battlefield, Tarleton earned the notorious nickname Bloody Tarleton for massacring surrendered American soldiers, making him the most feared British commander among colonial troops. Faced with the relentless enemy pursuit, Morgan abandoned the safe option of retreat and regroupment, choosing to make a desperate stand on the open Cowpens pasture. His position choice was questioned by every subordinate. Cowpens featured completely open terrain with no forest cover or marsh barriers. 5 miles to the rear lay a wide river, cutting off all retreat routes, classic deadly terrain forbidden by military tactics. Yet, this seemingly reckless choice embodied Morgan's masterful psychological warfare. He knew full well that militia troops fled at the slightest setback. Eliminating all escape routes erased their fluke mentality and forced them to fight to survive. Most ingeniously, Morgan never forced militias to undertake high-risk missions of holding positions or engaging in bayonet combat. On the eve of the battle, he patrolled the camp all night, talking personally with soldiers of every unit, explaining tactics in plain language, calming morale, and clarifying precise combat duties for each troop. This humanized and meticulous pre-battle deployment was unprecedented in the mechanized, formulaic military command system of the Shabaduan 8th century. He established a well-connected, layered combat system for his army. The front line consisted of 150 elite frontier sharpshooters, tasked with prioritizing the elimination of British officers and cavalry commanders to destroy the enemy's command system before retreating in order after 2 rounds of fire. The second line was formed by 300 Carolina militias, who would fire 2 volleys when British troops advanced to within 50 yards, then execute a unified left flanking retreat without stubborn engagement. The rear slope was defended by regular Continental Army troops, led by Lieutenant Colonel John Eager Howard, serving as a solid defensive anchor to withstand the main British assault. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel William Washington stationed over 100 cavalrymen in hidden positions behind the hills, waiting for the perfect moment to launch a fatal encirclement. The core wisdom of this tactic was leveraging strengths and circumventing weaknesses, adapting flexibly to battlefield conditions, instead of forcing the militia to overcome their close combat disadvantages. Morgan turned their capability for rapid organized retreat into a bait to lure the enemy into his trap. On the British side, Tarleton was intoxicated by successive small victories and blinded by arrogance. At 2 a.m. on January 17, he forced his exhausted soldiers into an overnight march despite their hunger, fatigue, and weary horses. He skipped detailed battlefield reconnaissance, reserved no strategic reserves, and firmly believed the fatigued American army would be easily defeated. At dawn, the general assault began. British troops charged forward at full speed, only to be targeted by precise sharpshooter fire. Multiple British officers were killed instantly, paralyzing the enemy command system from the start. The front-line sharpshooters completed their mission and withdrew in order, followed by 2 intensive volleys from the militia that inflicted heavy casualties on the British ranks. The American troops maintained neat formations and disciplined movement, with not a single soldier panicking or fleeing, obsessed with pursuing victory. Tarleton misjudged the militia's tactical retreat as a full-scale rout, driven by the desire for a quick triumph. the British Army lost all discipline, abandoned formation integrity, and charged forward chaotically, falling step by step into Morgan's carefully laid death trap. As the disorganized British troops charged up the hill, they were met with concentrated fire and fierce bayonet countercharges from the fully prepared American regulars. The British front line collapsed instantly. The hidden American cavalry charged out to strike the enemy's right flank, while the regrouped militia advanced from the left, completely blocking the British retreat. Within minutes, the British were trapped in a textbook three-sided encirclement from the front, left and right. The once aggressive British troops collapsed completely, throwing down their weapons and surrendering en masse. Scattered resistance units were quickly eliminated. Tarleton personally led his remaining cavalry in a desperate counterattack, was wounded in close combat, and fled with only a handful of loyal men. The entire battle was over in less than 1 hour. The battle's casualty statistics remain a miraculous case in military research. The British suffered nearly 900 killed, wounded or captured, losing 80% of their main force, along with all their artillery and supplies. In stark contrast, the Americans only had 12 deaths and 60 injuries, creating an utterly lopsided combat loss ratio. Military historians universally recognize this as the cleanest and most tactically perfect victory in early modern thermal warfare. The strategic significance of the Battle of Cowpens far exceeded a mere tactical win. It annihilated Cornwallis' elite mobile forces, completely destroying Britain's capacity for flexible operations in the southern colonies, and shattering the long-held British belief that American militias were incompetent. Plagued by consecutive defeats, a frustrated Cornwallis burned his heavy supplies and marched northward in light pursuit, stretching his supply lines excessively. This left his troops exhausted and severely weakened, trapping him in irreversible strategic passivity. This chain of strategic blunders ultimately led Cornwallis' main army into the Yorktown encirclement. In October 1781, the British surrendered at Yorktown, ending large-scale main force confrontations in the Revolutionary War. This decisive victory that laid the foundation for American independence traced all its strategic turning points back to this one miracle at Cowpens. For over 2 centuries, the Battle of Cowpens has been revered as a military classic by top military academies worldwide, often compared with Hannibal's Battle of Cannitode. The Cowpens National Battlefield preserves the original terrain of gentle pastures and rolling hills. This tranquil land bears witness to a revolutionary tactical breakthrough and proves an eternal military truth. Victory on the battlefield never relies on sheer numerical or equipment superiority. The top-tier strategy lies in understanding human nature, leveraging one's own advantages, and adapting flexibly to changing situations. Arrogance and underestimation are the deadliest flaws of the powerful, while adapting to conditions, valuing one's troops, and maximizing strengths are the eternal laws of victory.